Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Bass, and in this video I'm going to be going over the Grimoire cards again. So I did do a video highlighting some of the new Taken Kin unlocks you can get with the Grimoire cards, but I think I should have probably looked at some other sections a bit more. So I was concentrating on the weapons. However, the enemies has seen the biggest update, so I'm going to go back now and look over all of the enemies and see what's going to be coming in the Taken Kin. So I've already explained there's going to be about an extra 800 Grimoire score points. Now we're going to go ahead now and look at the Guardian sections and the enemies. And we will also briefly look over the ally section as well. So start with the Guardian section. So obviously within here, you know that there's going to be 3 new subclasses. There's going to be 3 new subclasses which everyone knows about. That's the Sunbreaker, the Nightstalk, and the Stormcaller. So everyone already knows about them, so that is that. Then we have some other sections here, so we're going to check some of these. So nothing in the Ghost section. Super ability should obviously have the 3 new abilities here. So we got the Hammer of Soul, so that's going to be the Titan, the Shadow Shot, which is the Hunter, and the Storm Trance, which is going to be the Warlock. We then have, see if there's anything under media abilities. I don't think there's anything new. No, there's not. And movement modes and everything else should all be the same, so we're going to look at them. Races, let's check under here. I don't think there's going to be anything new. Maybe that is. Oh, okay, we have 2 new cards here. So we've got the Awoken 3 and the Exo 3. So obviously we're going to go ahead and find these wherever they may be. And that sort of concludes the Guardian section. So we're going to move on now to obviously the inventory section I've already covered. So I've done the primary weapons, the special weapons, and the heavy weapons. You can find those 3 separate videos on my channel. The ally section then, so this is where there may be a couple of new ones. So we'll start and go through each individual section. So there's nothing new in the Traveller. Tower allies, so obviously these are just your vendors. So nothing new with these, there's not going to be any new vendors by the looks of it. We then have city factions. So nothing new here, so no new factions at all. The Exo Stranger, nothing new here, obviously that's just the woman from the story. We then have the Queen, so there may be something new in here. Obviously the Queen's involved in the Taken Kin. So nothing new there. Okay, so we got some sections here. So these 2 cards here, the Coven and the Aftermath. They're both new cards. And the Coven looks to be some sort of weird cult. And the Aftermath is, well, I don't know. It does look quite interesting. Maybe a card that you collect at the very end of the missions. Obviously no one quite knows what happens, but only time will tell what does happen. We now have Rasputin. So obviously there's 2 new cards here. So we got Rasputin 4 and Rasputin 5. Then moving on to Osiris. So obviously Trials of Osiris is gone at the moment, but we have Vision 81. So there's going to be a new section for the Trials of Osiris. So that'll be quite interesting. Obviously that should be returning back at the end of the year. Okay, let's just move on to the last section, Legends and Mysteries. Okay, so obviously we have here Legend of Saint 14, Mystery the Vault of Glass, Mystery the Vault of Glass 2, Vault of Glass 3, and Predif's Door. So these ones here are obviously all Taken Kin Grimoire cards, but it's pretty obvious that they're trying to get us to go back and replay the Vault of Glass. So that'll be fairly interesting. I do know that they've been putting some ghosts back in the raids, so it appears that they do want us to go back and complete them, so we will have to do that at some point. Right, and now we're going to move on to the last section I'm going to cover here, which is enemies. And let's look at all these. So, there's a couple of new ones in here which I did notice. Well, there's actually a fair few. So, this is the Fallen section here. So, there's nothing new in these. In this section, obviously I just haven't collected those two yet because I'm slacking. Let's move on to Fallen Arsenal. Okay, so we're maxed out on this one. Fallen Leadership. And there's one card left in here. Is it a new one? Yes, it is. So this is the Saber 2. So there's going to be a new boss. It looks like some sort of flying machine with a turret on the top. So that it does appear that we're going to be seeing this boss in, well, I think it's a strike. So that'll be quite interesting. And I can only assume they're going to put him in the Prison of Elders as well at the end of it. So that'll be quite good. And let's move on to the next one. So we're going to see Fallen Hunted. Okay, so I got all these cards. Obviously these are the Hunted Wolves. We then have Hive. Okay, let's scroll down to see if there's anything new here. So we have one new card here, Hive Champions. So I'm not sure what the deal is with this one. Whether that's going to be a new single player game mode quite possibly, or not too sure what the deal is with that one. Wait and see, I suppose. We then have Hive Arsenal. So there's one card in here, which is the Dreadnought. So yep, that looks quite good. We then have the Exalted Hive. So let's see if there's anything new in here. So there's 15 cards I haven't unlocked in here, so should be a fair few new ones. So we have RX the Taken Kin, RX Rebuked, RX Defeated, Echo of RX, Alak Hull the Dark Blade, the War Priest, the Golgoroth, Halak Deathsinger, Anak Deathsinger, Gruger, Lakar, Elzok Del, Gornak Del, Zerok Del. So this is a trio. Whether or not they're brothers, I can only assume that they are. And Vorlog. All these are very weird names. Belwur. Felnok Fanatic of Crota. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have a Crota copycat in the new DLC. It's very similar to Crota, very ugly. Right, let's move on to the next section. And we are going to go to Vex. So, two cards here I don't have, and one of them is the Ticking Kin. Ghost Fragment Vex 5, so not sure where that's going to lie. Probably within the Vault of Glass, I can only assume, but that's just a guess. We have Vex Arsenal. This one's a little bit slow at loading. Okay, so then no new cards in here. Let's go back. Let's view Vex Access Mines. So there's two cards I don't have. Okay, so don't know why I don't have the Gorgon's card. That's just glitched up for me. The Theosion, the Restorative Mind, is going to be a new raid character, I can only assume. It looks very much like a Gorgon style character, so that'll be fun. Yep, well, I guess we'll see him in the raid. Let's move on to the next one. So we have the Cabal. So obviously the Cabal is the main creatures we're going to be fighting in the Taken Kin. So we're going to have Skyburners, which just look like normal Cabal. Cabal Champions, so wherever they're going to lie. Then there's Ghost Fragment Cabal 3 and Ghost Fragment Cabal 4. So I'm not too sure where those cards are, but pretty sure we will find the ghosts in some time. Let's move on to Cabal Arsenal. Okay, so I've got all of these. Nothing new in there. Let's move down to Cabal Command. Okay, so there's 2 cards I don't have. Both of these are taking kin, so there's Valas to learn, which is some guy with what appears to be a machine gun or a single rocket on his back. These might be thrusters for a jetpack, so he might fly like and shoot at the same time, possibly. And then there's Valas Mor'ul, I suppose, who may have 3 rockets on his back on either side, so he may have 6 in total. So he'll be a bag of fun, won't he? Right, let's move on to the next one. So we have Darkness, so this will be an interesting one. There's 2 cards I don't have in here. So we have Calcified Fragment, Curiosity, and Calcified Fragment, Insight. So, not sure where these are going to be. I can only assume that it's going to be lying on the Dreadnought at some point. May very well be on Crota, possibly. Crota's End, that'll be. Maybe. Let's move on to Books of Sorrow. So this is a whole new section. So I have none of these, so we're going to go through them all and we're going to see all the different ones you can get. So you have Predators, Hateful Verse, The Oath, Syzygy, Needle and Worm, Sisters, The Dive, Leviathan, assume I'm saying that right, The Bargain, Immortals, Conquerors, Out of the Deep, Into the Sky, 52 and 1, Born as Prey, The Sort Logic, The Weakness Verse, Leviathan Rises, probably butchering that, Crusaders, Hive and Incision, The High War, Fire Without Fuel, The Scream, Dictator Dakawa, I believe. Then we have Star by Star by Star, Eat the Sky, Kins of Shapes, Carved in Ruin, A Golden Amputation, Battle Made Waves, Majestic Majestic, When Do Monsters Have Dreams, More Beautiful to Know, This Love is War, Eater of Hope, Shapes, Point, The Petition of Death, Open Your Eye, Go Into It, An Emperor for All Outcomes, Dreadnought, that one, End of Failed Timeline, Strict Proof Eternal, I Shut Them All in Cells, The Gift Mast, Apocalypse Refrains, Ayat whatever, just repeats on itself, Forever and a Blade, and Worm Food. So all of these may very well be a new collectible, could be a thing that tells you about the story. I really don't know. But there's a lot of them, all of which are to do with the taking kin. So I can only assume that they're going to be running alongside the story, possibly just dialogues. So as you go through the story, you may unlock them. I'm really not too sure, but I guess we will find out tomorrow. Now let's move on to the next section, which is obviously the last one. This is the Taken. So all of these are going to be from the Taken kin. So we've got the Taken Thrall, the Taken Acolyte, the Taken Knight. I'm just going to go for the ends rather than say Taken every time. So we've got Wizards, Scions, Phalanxes, Centurions, Vandals, Captains, Goblins, Hobgoblins, Minotaurs, Primus to Earn, the Grave Keeper, Taken Champions, Brachus, Harusk, Mengathan, Cruadag, how do you want to say it, and Kagor. So they're all the Taken enemies that will be coming across by the looks of it, all different bosses. And what we're going to do now is, that sort of concludes the enemies. Now I might go over, I did say I was going to be the last, but let's go to places. Oops. Now see, there's going to be new places that we're going to visit, so let's see what we do have. So there's a card on Earth I don't have, which is Ghost Fragment Old Russia 3. Venus appears full, Mercury appears full, City appears full, Moon is down to just over half. There's 2 cards on here that's been added, the Hellmouth and the Hellmouth 2. Then if we go to Mars, so there's another 2 cards on here, so we have Fleet Base Curus Phobos, Ghost Fragment Clovis Bray, so wherever that one lies. We now have the Asteroid Bot, which appears full. Yes, it is. Jupiter appears full. And Saturn. So there's 1 card on here, so Rings of Saturn. And we will jump over to the last section here just to see what is new on activities. Obviously it's going to be stuff related to the storyline and so on. So let's have a look at the Taking Kin section. Okay, so we've got the Coming War, Cade Stash, the Dreadnought, Enemy of My Enemy, Lost to Light, the Promethean Code, Last Rites, Regicide, Dread Patrol, Outbound Signal, the Taken War Venus, the Taken War Earth, the Taken War Mars, the Road to Kin's Fall, the Wolves of Mars, the Sunbreaker's Challenge, the Night Stalker's Trail, the Stormcaller's Path, and Court of Oryx. So I believe these 3 here are the quests that we have ongoing, but I may be mistaken. Obviously the Stormcaller's Path sounds familiar, and I shall check now actually. So have a look. So I believe that the quests for the current characters are being referred to as paths. Yes, they are. So these are probably the new quests for the new subclasses. So obviously we're going to have the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock. So that's all they appear to be. So that sort of concludes that section. Let's go back up to here. So we have all these different sections here. So they all appear full. Obviously the Taken Kin we just looked at. And we're going to look at raids. So there's obviously 1 card missing here. It's going to be the Kin's Fall raid. So we'll be doing that at some point. I believe it's out on the 20 some odd, 26, 24, something around that date, I believe. Not too long away, possibly even sooner. Crucible playlist then, obviously is going to be the 2 new, so might be 3 new game modes actually, so look. That was 4 cards I don't have, so look. Combine Arms, Doubles, Elimination. So we have Zone Control, which is new. Obviously these 3 here, just ones I haven't got yet. And Rift and Mayhem are also the other 2 game modes. So just waiting on Zone Control, which I can only assume will launch on the 15th. Let's go back to this, and let's see Crucible Arenas. So obviously some of these are already been released already, so let's just fly through them quickly and see what's new. So like, okay, so it looks like we're starting from here. So Sector 618 is new. Memento, Bannerfall, Crossroads, the Dungeons is new. The Drifter, Frontier, Vertigo. Widow's Court is from DLC 2, and that's just glitched up on me, so I don't know what that's doing. So I'm pretty sure most people have already played all the new maps. I don't think there's going to be any extra new ones. Not what I can see anyway. Let's just scroll all the way through them. So nope, okay, so there's not going to be any new maps that we don't already know about. And we will now look at other activities, which will wrap up the video then. For quite some time, and I already have all these 3 cards. So there's not going to be any new side activities that we can do. Obviously these are just patrols, public events, and that's it. so that sort of concludes that. So like I said, I've already looked at the inventory, just looked at the guardians, allies, enemies, places, and activities. That sort of concludes the video. So the ticking kin is just hours away, 12 hours away actually. So I shall be covering that, so if you're interested in watching any more videos on it, then please subscribe, and I shall possibly see you in the next one. So thanks again for watching.